I can't believe it. I can't believe Alatreon is coming to Iceborne. I had a really good feeling that Seregios was going to be added because he's a fan favorite and a flagship in the series, plus it makes sense for him to be added. But no, Capcom instead surprises us with a monster I'm sure no one saw coming. Alatreon isn't even a flagship, but instead one of the hardest monsters of all time. I honestly didn't think Alatreon was considered a fan favorite. In fact, I think he's hated by many fans not because of the design or anything, but because of how difficult he is. I think he may be a fan favorite monster because of the lore, maybe? I wonder if fan favorite lore is how monsters get added. If so, I don't doubt they'll be adding the Fatalis family down the line. On top of all this, the devs say Alatreon will be even more fierce than before. That basically tells me they're making him harder than he was in the past games. So we as hunters, both new and old, need to prepare for the incoming doom that is Alatreon. With the long intro out of the way, I am Reverjolt, and these are some anti-Alatreon armor set ideas in Iceborne. Now before we get started, I want to mention that these builds that I have made are purely from my own experience and that these sets may not even be considered meta. Also, I don't recommend copying these sets as they may not work for everyone. These are ideas I came up with for my own particular playstyle. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. So the first build we'll take a look at is the main anti-Alatreon build I came up with. In the past games, sleep bombing was essential for beating Alatreon, especially when all 4 players carry 2 barrel bombs each. And that's the main focus of this build. The weapon I'm using is the Saphi's Dream Shield with the awakened abilities and augments. The augments aren't yet complete for this weapon, so I plan on improving this before Alatreon arrives. The pieces I'm using consist of Gold Rathian armor and Clockwork armor. Now while the Clockwork armor may not seem like it's useful, allow me to explain. The Saphi's Dream Shield has the Bombardier secret skill in it, which means I only need 2 pieces of the Clockwork armor. The skills you see on the right hand side are what I decided to use in this set. I decided to use Blight Resistance in the build because I feel elemental resistances, while good, take up too much space if you want to have room for other more important skills. The Divine Secret is there for more survivability as well as stun resist and health boost. I decided to use the Glider Mantle for this build because even though the Apothecary Mantle is a great way to inflict sleep, it's not practical against Alatreon. He moves around so much that getting hits on him would require reading him like a book, which is what speedrunners do. And if you miss all of your hits while wearing the Apothecary Mantle, it becomes practically useless. The Glider Mantle will allow for quick mounting, which for someone like me, is more optimal. The next build I came up with is what I call the Immortality Build. This build makes it very hard for monsters to deal lots of damage to you. The main focus here is to fight Alatreon without worrying about taking too much damage, and in turn outlasting the monster. The main set bonuses that take advantage of this are Divine Blessing Secret and Super Recovery. The weapon I chose is Saphi's Bind Shield. I adjusted the abilities to not only increase defense even more, but to add functional DPS by increasing attack and status up for the paralysis. It also has defense and health regen augments. Thanks to this build, my defense goes up to 1130. Unless Alatreon somehow gets a move that guarantees a one-shot, this build will do very well against him. And the last build we'll look at today is a healer build to help other players survive Alatreon. The weapon I'm using is the Saphi's Dream Fang, and these are the awakened abilities that I have. And while it does have attack boost level 7, that's a byproduct. And of course we have all the skills required for this set to be used for healing. Not only can this set help other players, it can survive on its own as well to prevent carding. While the sleep attack isn't very high, it can help, especially considering sleep bombing will be very much needed to deal a lot of damage to Alatreon. This armor comes with 1118 defense. That'll be enough to survive some big hits. Now if you guys do make some sleep builds, make sure you take advantage of the radial menu and put the crafting recipes for the barrel bombs to save them into your loadouts. And for the healers out there, prepare as much sushi fish scales and great sushi fish scales as possible. These are hands down the best healing items in the game and are perfect for healer builds. And I recommend learning about Alatreon if you guys happen to not know about him. Maybe get some training in by fighting him in Generations Ultimate, or learn about his lore. Thank you very much for watching. If you would like to see more like this, consider liking the video, and consider subscribing and clicking on the links below to keep up with my latest uploads and my Twitch live streams. Although it's gonna be a while before I stream again as my net is going through some difficulties. Anyways, be kind to one another and have a most wonderful day.